Hello and welcome back to another tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how you can record the AGR from CSGO and then import it into Blender. Before we start, feel free to jump into our Discord if you want any extra help or support. We're also trying to build a little Blender community for beginners so that we can help each other out and just solve each other's issues and just get better at Blender. If that sounds like something that you're interested in, the link will be in the description to that too. I will also be leaving a written document going through the steps in this video. If you find that helpful, the link will also be in the description below. One thing to note, this is not a tutorial for you if you want to take the recordings out of Blender and put them into another software such as Maya or Unreal Engine or any other software, just because the recording settings will be different, as well as the import settings into Blender will be different if you want to move those files to a different software. The technique is the same, all the software is the same. So you can play around with it if you feel like you want to. Now, with that all said and done, let's jump into the video. For anyone that doesn't know what recording the AGR is, it's essentially where you record separate parts of the gameplay from your demo file in order for you to be able to do 3D edits. So for example, the software HLAE is going to allow us to record the POV view, the characters, including the allies and the opponents, the animations, and how they run about the map with the exact same coordinates as if they were still in game. And of course, this allows us to then put them into Blender and create our own environments. So the software you're going to need is Blender, CSGO, HLAE, Advanced FX, Blender Scripts, which is a Blender Addon, and IO Import VMF, which is also another Blender add-on. So Advanced FX is going to allow us to import AGR files into Blender, and the IO import VMF is going to allow us to import the materials. All the links will be provided in the descriptions below. So assuming you have downloaded all the software that has been linked in the description, the first thing we're going to do is create a place that we can store our CSGO recording. So for me, I'm just going to go into my folders, and I've got a little folder here, and I'm just going to name this folder clip 3, and this is where my file is going to go. So the next thing we're going to do is open up Steam. If you do not open up Steam, HLAE will not work, so make sure you open it up. So I'm going to come over here and open up Half-Life Advanced Editor, or HLAE. We're going to run it, and you'll be greeted with this little box here. So the next thing we're going to do is go to File, Launch CSGO. You'll be greeted with this box. Now, as you can see, it's asking for your csgo.exe file. This can be found where your game was installed, and you're going to want to click on this icon. This is a directory: Steam, Steam Apps, Common, Counter-Strike Global Offensive. If you're not sure where this is on your computer, what you can do is go to Steam, go to your library, find CSGO, right click, click on Properties. We're then going to go down to Local Files, and we're going to click on Browse, and this will take you to the directory that you need. Once you have done this, click on the directory box Control C or copy. Go back into HLAE. Click on the box, Control V or paste. And as you can see, it will bring you back to here. So once you have selected your CSGO, you can then click launch. So once you are in, you will be greeted with the console, which you can get rid of by clicking the X, or you can click the button below the escape key to remove it. As you can see, Valve has detected that we have launched the game not through Steam, but through HLAE. So do not go online and do not join any servers, as you may get banned. So once you are ready, we are going to go over to watch matches and tournaments. Give it a click. Now this is where all your recordings will be. So if you wanted to record one of your matches, you'll just go up to the top here and record your matches. Something to remember is that the only thing that will be recorded in your, essentially the theatre mode, is only going to be your competitive matches. So no team death matches or anything like that are going to appear. You can also download some matches if you wanted to via using their ID, but I'm just going to show you the different way. So what I usually do is I go to majors and I click on whichever tournament I want and find a good clip. Usually I'll just go online and they'll usually say what matches they are in. So we are going to click on any match. I'm going to go to, let's go Cologne 2016, and as you can see, someone got an ace here. DJ M got an ace, so this will be a good clip if you wanted to record for that ace. So I'm just going to download it. So once your game has loaded, we're going to click on watch. Okay, so once your demo has loaded, we're going to click Shift F2 on our keyboard, and this is going to bring up this menu over here. Now what this menu does, basically you can resume or play by clicking this button. You can half the speed, quarter the speed, half the speed, this is normal speed, double the speed, 4 times the speed of the playback. You can also control which round and which death you want to skip to. You also have your tick down here, which just enables you to put in a tick number so you can get straight to the point of the clip if you already know what tick it is. So next we're going to find where our clip starts. Okay, so once you have found your the beginning of your clip, we can start recording. Now a few things to mention is you can use the left click to switch between players. If I just do that now, as you can see, you can also use right click to go back. So right now I'm on Taco, I'm going to right click to get to Cold Zero. You can also click spacebar to change the camera angle. But I'm going to record in the POV view. Some people say you should be in the 3 camera view, like so, like this. However, POV has worked fine for me, so that's just what I'm going to use. Now, we are going to bring up the console, and this is where we're going to put in our commands so that it records what we want. All the console commands will be in the description. I'll also leave exactly what they do. But for now you can copy me if you're just going to use Blender. Just to give you guys an example, I have copied and pasted the first line of the command. We're going to click in the command box, Control V to paste, and then click enter. I'm going to do this for all the command lines until I've inputted all the settings. Okay, so I put all my settings in. Feel free to change some of these as you want. For example, I don't want projectiles, that's why it's on 0. I just don't want them. You can put them on if you want to. Yeah, but feel free to mess around with them. Now, in order to start your recording, we're going to type in this command here. This one's going to start your recording. Also, you want to make note of where your recording is going to be saved. So you might want to copy this. If you're not sure where they are, take a photo of it. And we're going to use end to end the recording. So I'm just going to copy this real quickly so that I don't have to search for it. And I'm going to click the button below escape to get rid of the console. I'm going to click Shift F2, get the player back, and I'm going to click resume. As you'll notice, the gameplay is going to get a lot faster. And we're just going to play this until we want our frag to be over. So I haven't timed this perfectly. As you can see, I probably should have started right there, just before the first kill. And we'll see for when the frag ends. Okay, so that was free. I guess you could include that part if you want to. Anyway, so once you're happy with your recording, you're going to get the console back up, hit enter, and as you can see, it's ended the recording. Something to note as well, in your recording it will come with a WAV file, which is just going to be the sound that you hear. So you'll have all the gunshot sounds and all that sort of stuff along with your file, which I'm about to show you how to get to. So now that we are done, we're going to go and find our clip. So, if you've copied and pasted the directory, which I have, I'm going to come into File Explorer, click on our directory, click Ctrl V, and then just click enter, and it'll take us straight to it. So as you can see, we have got a afxgamerecord.agr file, and we've got the audio along with it. Now you can leave your file in here if you want to, however I'm going to move mine into the clip3 folder that we had made, and just paste it in there, because I like to be a bit organized. So we'll chuck that in there, and we can delete these too. Okay, so that's all the recording done. We have done with HLAE. Next, I'm going to show you how to set up your Blender's Addons folder, as well as the CSGO cache folder, and how to set up the Blender Addons within Blender so that they work. The first thing we are going to do is open up File Explorer and go to your documents. Now you can put your folder wherever you want, and you can name it whatever you want. I'm just going to do mine in documents, and I've called mine Blender Addons. What you're going to do is just make a folder, and you're going to put your Blender Addons inside. So once you have downloaded the AFX Blender script and the IO importer, drag and drop them into the folder. Make sure you haven't extracted them. That's very important. Once you have done that, I'm going to go back into my documents, make another folder called Blender Cache. This is where all the cache is going to be stored, and if you don't have one, the add-on is not going to work. So once you have made your Blender Cache folder, which will be empty where you create it, we're going to open up Blender. Next, we are going to go to Edit in the top left and Preferences. Next, we are going to click on Add-ons on the left hand side and then click on Install. We are then going to go to our Blender Addons folder, and we're going to install both AFX Blender script and IO import. You'll then click Install, and then you'll type in their name and make sure that they are ticked. So I'm just going to type in advanced, and as you can see, you'll click on this box if it's not already ticked to make sure it's ticked. Once you have done that, you're going to restart Blender. Once you have restarted Blender, we're going to go to Edit and Preferences, back to our add-ons, and we're going to find the importer, which is this one here. We're going to click on this little arrow and it's going to drop down this. So we have several important ones here. We have the cache directory path. This is where our cache is going to go into. So we're going to click on this folder here and we're going to find our Blender cache folder in our documents. So just click on Blender cache and then we can just click accept. After that, if it hasn't been done already, we need to make sure that the Valve game definitions and game directories are set to CSGO. If this hasn't been done already, we're going to click on detect from a game directory. And the game directory is going to be the same directory that we used at the beginning of the tutorial. So it will be our Steam, Steam Apps Common, Counter-Strike, Global Offensive, CSGO, and it should do the rest for you. If they haven't, you can add them manually by clicking the folder icons here. And you can just copy my game directories as well as the VPK location. Once that is set up, you're going to restart Blender one more time. So just to double check that everything has gone to plan, we're going to go up to the top left, click on File, Import, and you should have all the HLAE stuff. So we have the AFX Game Record Enhanced. We also have the normal AFX Game Record, Camera, and Hold Cam. If you can see these and these are not grayed out, everything has been done correctly. A quick note is that it's quite easy for these things to go wrong. So the first thing you'll probably want to do is delete the cache inside your folder that you've just made after you've done an import that has failed. And to simply do that, we'll just go to our documents, Blender cache, and you'll just delete whatever's inside. So mine has CSGO in it. Then try importing it again, and if it doesn't work, you may need to record the footage through HLAE. So the first thing we are going to do is, of course, delete all your camera and cube. Next, we are going to go up to Window, Toggle System Console. Now, this will be helpful for when we import our AGR, because if Blender were to freeze or start not responding, the console will tell you if it's actually frozen and you need to kill the program. It's very common for Blender not to respond when we're importing the AGR, so it's a good idea to have this open. Next, we're going to go into File, Import. Now, the ones we are looking for is, of course, HLAE, AFX Game Record, or the Enhanced, or the normal AGR. Now, what the difference is, you might be asking. Well, the Enhanced version imports the AGR file with the materials. So all your characters and weapons will have the proper materials and textures attached, whereas the standard AGR will not. One thing to consider is if you do enhanced, it's going to be a lot slower. However, it means you don't have to do it all manually, so it's totally up to you. However, I'm going to show you the settings for both. So first, I'm going to show you AFX Game Record. Now, first thing to do is to find our clip. So I'm going to go and get my clip here, click on it once. As you can see, it will appear down there. Next, we're going to have to select the asset path. This is the most important part. If you do not set an asset path, it will not work. It will not import the models at all. So you're going to need to have a folder with all the decompiled and extracted models on your computer. If you do not have this, I've made a tutorial on how to do this. It will pop up on the screen and you can go and watch that and make one for yourself. Or you can download mine, which is in the description. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to my folders and I'm going to scroll down until I find my decompiled models and animations. Click on CSGO. Next I'm going to go to directory, copy it, come back into Blender, Control V, and click off of it. Keep the scale to 0.01. It doesn't really matter, but you might as well just leave it as the default. You can scale it up if you want to, but it's totally up to you. Everything else you can ignore, and you'll click HLAE AFX game record. Now, if you're doing it with the textures, we're going to go to import, enhanced, I mean. As you can see, your game definition. Then we're going to go and find our clip again. So I'm going to go to clips, AFX. Game definition should be set to CSGO. If it's not, make sure it is in the box. Everything else can be left on default. The only thing you might want to change is simple materials. This will help if you're going to try and export this file or just a Blender file to another software. If you are going to do that, give that a tick. Next, we're going to click import. Now, depending on your system, importing can take a very long time. The enhanced version probably going to take 3 times the amount, so be looking for an hour. It also depends how long you have recorded your footage for. So mine was quite long, so mine might take a very long time. But obviously, the more condensed you can record the footage in, the quicker the import will be. If your Blender program starts to freeze, come down into the console and you can see if it's doing anything or not. As you can see, it's working. So I'm just going to wait and I will see you guys once that is done. So it's been about 30 minutes and my AGR file has been imported, which is great. As you can see, everything is up here. We also have the timeline. It goes on for 6,400 frames. So if we zoom in, we can get a better look. So these black parts are essentially the animations and the skeletons. So what happens is the character models run to these positions, and that's essentially where some of the animations start, like the key poses, I think they are. I'm not entirely sure, but you'll see what I mean. As you can see, having a bit of performance issues because I'm recording at the same time. Obviously, there's a lot of footage here, as well as a lot of going on here. So I'm going to come up to the top, we're going to click on viewport shading, and as you can see, our characters are now all textured and materialed, which is awesome. So I'm going to see if I can get them to run by going on view shading. You can see it's very laggy. You'll have to delete some of this, make it shorter. to improve the performance. So where they are also not moving, this is when I started the recording, but then I didn't play the footage, so it's just recorded them frozen. So again, you can cut all that out. Hopefully we can get anything. Is anything here? Zoom all the way out. Hopefully we move it like 2000-ish. No. Okay, here we go. So as you can see, they are moving about. Now obviously it's skipping a lot of frames because I'm dragging it. If I play, it's going to play it very slowly. As you can see, it's on 1 FPS. So not the best. We'd have to do, if you wanted to see it properly, you'd have to render out the animation temporarily, which I might do a video on, but I'm not sure. I'm just going to pause that. If we come to, if you look around in your scene, you will see there's a camera around somewhere. Give that a click. Yeah, now selected the camera, and I'm going to click on toggle to the camera view. As you can see, this is the POV view that you would get in CSGO. So this will be the POV recording of the character that you had selected at the time. And of course, as you drag it, he moves around, he does the animations, etc, etc. That is about it really. Most of this stuff you could delete, so you've got this pile here, you can just delete all that sort of stuff. And again, you can just delete the characters that you also don't want in your footage. Yeah, that's basically how you get them, how you get your recording into Blender. So I hope it helped. You guys know what to do. Follow, subscribe, like the video, share it. Follow me on Twitter and Twitch, and come join our Discord. All the links are in the description. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments down below, or in the Discord. Thank you for watching, and see ya.